All right, here we go, you guys.
So,
Rolling.
I am honored to have two of the most amazing, most beautiful school leaders that they are. To my left, I have Principal April Leon, Coney Island's finest. Then we have Dr. Fia Davis, the Deputy Superintendent up in the BX. X, there we go.
Soon to be doctor.
Soon to be doctor, and soon to be Dr. April Leon as well. So really quick, let me just jump into it. You know, you two, what I've noticed, you don't gel well with phony people, right? If it ain't about the stuff you believe in, y'all ain't messing with it. When you first heard about OSG, when you first of all, you gotta first tell people the story of how you got on. But see, getting on is one thing, but staying on is different. So just tell the people, as a person who normally don't play nice so much with people who are whack and phony and things like that. What made you even give this a shot?
So first I would say that I'm really thoughtful. I guard my environment, people who are around me, because energy is important. It informs your spirit, your soul, and how you work. So if your circle don't reflect your goals, you ain't moving right. So when someone tells me to come see this group of people, I'm like, hashtag side eye. So shout out to Simone A. Nicholas, who called me and said she was on a Zoom with the one only, the BIGDADDYKA, Big Daddy Kane. And I said, oh, I'm coming.
Oh, yes you did. Yes you did.
So that's how I got to OSU the first time. Camera off, still shady, still checking the scene, peeking through the blinds, if you will, on Zoom.
So I'm gonna get back to that because that's an interesting story. April, you are just as guarded as Fia is, and you, I think, came by way of the same person.
Yes.
So talk to us. How did you get to OSG? Because we know everybody that I've spoken to about you knows that you don't, again, play nice in the sandbox with people who are just straight corny, whack, and fake. So talk to us about how you got to OSG.
So Simone A. Nicholas, aka the Lioness.
Yep.
That chick and all of the other stuff.
Yes.
She, there were a number of times she kept reaching out, April, I need you to jump on, and you jump on. Simone has a big personality, and she's a part of big things and a lot of conversations. I'm like, yeah, Simone, I love you, baby, but no. But she was persistent, and honestly, but God, right? As Simone would say it, but God. There was a lot of things stirring in me, and she sent me these messages. And I can't really explain to you what in that moment made me sign on, except but God. And I signed on, and I felt this energy that I didn't know, I wasn't expecting to feel. And it wasn't so much of the people, it was the energy that I was feeling. And but God pushed me out of my way and said, open up. And I don't usually do that. And you've met people that are extremely close to me. I'm very guarded in who I am around people I don't know. But the energy in that space on Zoom.
On a Zoom.
Right, and that's the thing, on a Zoom, just said this is where you belong. And I told Simone, thank you, sis, I love you, and I'll be back.
And you have been. And so, Fia, we'll get back to you for a minute because I remember when we first, I don't know if you were quite on OSG yet, but I know that it was a friends group that you were part of.
Yes.
And I remember sitting there listening to the conversations about the desires to grow into the next step, next phase of your career and things like that. And I remember talking to you and watching your reaction when I was saying that it's time for you to grow, time for you to go, time for you to elevate and stuff like that. And you've never come across as a person who lacked any courage.
Right.
But again, you two are somebody who I think makes very calculated decisions. You don't just jump out the window because it's the thing to do. Do you remember that conversation that we were having when it came down to you stepping out of a principal role that you were extremely successful in, probably extremely comfortable in, and you probably could do it all the way to retirement. Do you remember what it was that pushed you towards saying to yourself, it's time to go, it's time to move on to that next phase? Now you are now happily the deputy superintendent of the Bronx.
So I remember that conversation vividly, Dennis, and it's interesting because shout out to Anisha Jacko, who invited me to my Critical Friends group, and shout out Michelle Sasudis, Alika Thompson-Young, Simone Nicholas, and the rest of the ladies who connected with us. But that conversation when we invited you to CFG, Dennis said to me, Sophia, you could continue to be dope and so you've been very successful as a principal, and I was a principal for 15 years. Like, I understand that we're intimate. And you said, but what if instead of the 600 children that you serve and impact, what if you could impact 20, 30,000 students as a deputy superintendent and then a superintendent and beyond? What if that's what God has for you? And you already know the answer. You feel it. And I probably started crying. It was like, but wait. I'm not ready. Wait. And Dennis said to me, so what you gonna do? Not do it? And I'm from South Jamaica, Queens. What you're not gonna do is punk me and step to me and like I'm soft. You're not doing that. So thank you for that push.
No doubt.
You know, sometimes you need a foot on your back to go be great.
Absolutely. And funny, there's a similar story with April. You know, April is one of those people, Principal Leon is one of those people who, again, is doing great things and have done great things as a principal in Coney Island. And then I walk into our office here and I see a wall plastered with nothing but awards and certificates and proclamations. And I said, what are you doing? Like, you of all people, why don't I know enough about you?
Right.
And then B, my question is, now that I've seen this, I can't let you stay in this condition. You gotta go impact the world. And I remember when she called me to her office to sit down and talk about some services, she knows how to be a principal. What she didn't know is how to now elevate herself to the next level. And so to watch her now in not only in LA, but in New York, what you're doing, I'm impressed, because just as Thea, you could literally have stayed in your positions and done well for yourself and retired and just been happy. But it's now to a point where you now feel a sense of elevation that you probably was waiting for, but probably didn't know how to do it. So talk to the people about what that was like, April, because you literally are how many years away? I mean, you were just a few short years away from retirement. You could have stayed there, but there's more that you want to do. So talk to us a little bit about why.
So one of the biggest whys, and I want to go back to the energy in the room. And when you were speaking to Rochelle, you were speaking about her age, being young, right? And I want Rochelle and all of the other principals, the younger principals in that room, to know how amazing that they are. And I wanted to, going back to opening up, right? I wanted them to know that me, right, a 15-year veteran principal, has over these accolades, was inspired and moved by them. And listening to them and feeling their energy, their motivation, their excitement gave me a peace in knowing that there's so many other people who are out there about our kids, and watching them say what they were doing, I said, you know what? It's time for me to move. So they inspired me. But I want to go back and I want to say something that I didn't say about that first time in room. Honestly, had Simone said, come on, a little opposite of fear, and said name dash is on, I would have passed. And I'm one thing I'm not is a hypocrite. And I said it to Dame already privately, but I want to say it publicly. Had I heard Dame's name first, I would not have signed on, because I would have been stuck on who I knew Dame to be.
Who you thought he was.
Exactly, right?
Thought he was.
The big personality who sometimes didn't acknowledge people in the room, didn't feel, because you don't always know the other side, right? But Dane came on that day, and I almost was like, what the? And again, but God said, you get out the way. And I didn't just listen to Dane, I felt Dane. And I was proud of him, and I humbled myself and my heart in that moment. And I listened to how he was feeding the room jewels and energy and motivation, like shaming us for not dreaming outside of what we do for everybody else. And that was crazy for me to hear.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I felt like it was my responsibility to do more for me, because somebody like Dane, who didn't know us from a hole in the wall, while he was inspired, felt like it was his duty to give us what he had.
And to
And
make
I-
sure that we dream
Dream for ourselves
For
and
ourselves.
dream big. And what you don't know, Dave, what's your name? Dennis? No, something you don't know, Dennis. You really are amazing. And I'm not being funny right now. There's something about how God moves in you. Because even calling Fia and myself up together right
He
now,
doesn't know, right?
you don't even get it. Like, Fia's vision board and my vision board is almost identical. So I don't know how you do what you do,
I know.
but God.
But and I'm glad you said that, April, right? Because as Dane was trying to pick who's coming up, and I'm literally seeing who I need to bring up because of similarities.
I was gonna pick them unless you picked them.
Whatever the similarities were, I thought was special to share with the people. But I think the fact that both of you could have stayed where you were,
Yeah.
and for you all in your stage of your careers are looking at the Rochelle Hines and the Marissa and other principals and are inspired by them is key, right? Because you get to a certain point where we ain't listening to nobody. We not listening to nobody younger, whatever.
Yeah.
But for you all to be so inspired by them means the world to me, because I know that everything that I've said is coming to pass, which is, if you're okay, I was never satisfied with just the few that I was impacted. When I was a school aide, I wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. When I was a teacher with 25 students, that wasn't enough. When I was an AP over 300 kids, that wasn't enough. When I became a principal and was over 500 plus kids, that wasn't enough. So becoming a consultant, where I'm touching so many lives and so many people across the country, like I'm literally touching tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of people right now. And I want all of you to experience the same, but more importantly, I know that I don't possess anything different than what you all possess. Because you all have a true faith in who God is in your life. And two, you also know what's important to these young people in these communities need. So just before I, let you two go, because we're going to get out and get something to eat in a little while, but talk to us in 30 seconds or less. OSG, what does it mean to be there? Because watching you and Malik earlier today and the past couple of days, when Dr. Small said to me, I don't know how you see what you see and how you put people together, but this is a winning combination. And I saw it immediately with you two. I saw it. And it was just one brief interaction. And I knew that it was special. So, but most people probably would never have put you two together.
Right.
And
we didn't even see
you didn't even see
put
it.
this together.
But the fact that you guys were willing to go and sit down, and you went and sat down at his house
Yeah.
and that similar conversation.
Yeah.
Let's get to work.
Yeah.
And you kind of see the kind of man Malik is. If his mind is set on something, he's going to get it done. But talk to us a little bit about OSG, what has meant to you over these past 7 years?
So, not only did I go to this house, but before that, because of OSG, I had a vision for a show called Complimentary Conversations and made a little sign in my notebook, because I always have my notebook, and I'm always taking a note, and took a picture and called him. I said, Malik, I think we should do a show, and I'm going to send you this picture, and it's called Complimentary Conversations. And I wrote our names on it with Fia Davis and Dr. Malik Andrew Small, and he was all in. He said, come to the house. Let's sit down. I got to feel energy. We got to break bread, have an adult beverage, right? And OSG made Malik my brother. And so I knew that I could step out, take a risk, be vulnerable, and tell this man who I'd never met in person, ever, I want to do a show with you. I already trusted him. I already knew his intellect, I knew his character, I knew his commitment, right? I knew that we believed in what was possible, not just for children, but for adults and our brothers and sisters. So I knew I could call him. So when you ask me what does OSG mean, the first thing I would say is possibility. I didn't even know I wanted a doctorate. I used to say, I'm not doing that again. Why? I'm good. I like what I do. I got 3 degrees already. OSG is love. It is fellowship. It is friendship. It is sisterhood and brotherhood. OSG is laughter. OSG is ambition. Like, yo, what you doing? Because here's what I'm doing. Right? And finally, you already know. I believe that I chose OSG's theme song. Right?
Everybody's.
Okay? Ain't nobody fresher than my click. 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 Click.
Everybody should know that song by now.
Okay? We play it every Thursday now. Because ain't nobody fresher than my click.
Tell me about it. And so, but people don't realize, and it's funny here because what you had to go through to get here to LA,
Oh my God.
the fact of the matter is, you could have easily said, yo, I just traveled from my other vacation. I don't really need to go to LA. But you was like, by hook, crook, or if you got to walk, you was coming to LA and you made it here
On time.
On time.
On time.
To hang out with, our brother Alman Ra and the rest of the family. So, hats off to you because I might not have been that one who'd been able to say, you know what, after all you went through to get here, I might have been like, you know what, maybe this ain't for me. And so I'm so glad that you came. I'm so glad you got to see what it is to work directly with the Malik Small, but the Dame Dashes of the world.
If I may, Dennis, what really pushed me to get here, I was already committed. But Dame had said to us in one of his master classes, he already could see it. He already had a visualization for all of us in LA, for the work we would do, for the show we were shooting. He met with Malik and I, so I could already see it. And standing in my commitment, and where commitment is present, providence moves too. And so in that commitment, I was doing whatever I had to do, pressing people in the airline. You're gonna fly me here, you can't get me there, fly me there, and then pay for me to get there. I was gonna do whatever I had to do to stand in my commitment to be present for all of you.
Shout out to Dame Dash.
Shout out to Dame Dash.
Aight.
I love you, Dame. I appreciate
Love
you.
your brother Dame.
Love y'all.
And so, April, same to you. It's like, let's think about it. You could have literally you too went through a lot to get here. We were all part of the text threads. And so, every time you look around, your flight was delayed or was canceled. We just didn't know. But you got here anyway. Why? Because obviously I need you to explain to the people why you do this. Why did you do this for your OSG family? Like, why did you go through all you went through to get here to LA?
Because my family's worth the sacrifice. And I had to pour back into my family and step up and take an unwritten leadership role to keep us together.
Indeed.
And I wanted
So, in other words, you were Dennis?
I was Dennis.
She was totally Dennis.
I was totally Dennis.
Yes.
And everybody else didn't know I was Dennis. So I had to go through the hazing because nobody knew that I was being Dennis, right? But that's what the family's about. And I'm going to go off script. OSG for me, one word I'll just say, life. Life. but just go off script and say how proud I am of all of my OSG sisters and brothers for the work that they put in the last few days. You all have been amazing, especially those who did not know they would get attacked or getting dentists or feared, because Fia did some fearing. She feared some people in the last couple of days. Just really, really proud of you for stepping out of your element, for doing it so well. You all sat here like professionals. And Fia, thank you for always speaking to people's spirits. And as you are so critical of yourself as I am of myself, I want you to know that something that nobody can ever teach you or tell you how to do better is speaking to a person's spirit. Thank you for the sisterhood, which I've said time and time again is new to me. Thank you, Dennis, for Dennising me and making me listen to the things that I sometimes don't hear. And there are so many people in the room that's done the same. But Fia, because of Dr. Action, who followed up on the conversation, I understand what you're trying to tell me. I'm worth it.
That's right.
And I need to live in that moment.
That's right.
So thank you.
That's right.
So
And
always
you did.
keep
You're
it
listening.
light. I'm listening.
Absolutely. Well, again, I thank both of you. And again, you two served as a major inspiration to me because you didn't have to do it. You could have literally just rode off into the sunset like so many other people do when it's close to retirement. You all recognize that there was more to this than just you all working in this comfort space. You all recognize that we got to change the world, and that's what OSU is going to be. We're going to change the world. And again, we flew all the way across the country, not simply to just have a bunch of fun with one another, but to do work, to get work in, support our brother Amin Ra. And so I'm just extremely proud to call you all my sisters. I love you all both so much.
We love you too.
And just say, what's really dope about you all again is that you all can look to the people like Rochelle and Marissa and other people and say, you know what, you guys inspire me. So thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Thank
you.
And Dane, thank you again. I'm in debt to you, so whatever I continue to do for you, I want you to know that you too have a right to ask.
Shout out to Dane
Yeah.
Dash.
They will put us all to work. All right.
All right,
Thank you,
y'all.
Dennis.
Hey,
All right.
Governor.
There you go. There you go. Could I see Keoki and Adrian up there real quick? Keoki and Adrian?
It's we're never leaving.
Birthday, girl.
We're never leaving.
I promise.
Hey, Governor.
Adrian, if it's just a fork full of cake out of your cake when you cut it, don't worry about it.
Just use your hands.
If I
So
just
you know what we
scoop
do? So you know what we do? Hey, Adrian, Keoki, come in. Rochelle. Can one of y'all, in a few minutes, light that cake and bring it, and somebody, perhaps Smitty or somebody bring it? Come on, Keoki.
All right, OSG Summit. OSG Summit. Anybody want to speak to the live?
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Today's my birthday.
It's a birthday.
It's my birthday.
Songstress.
Principal songstress.
I am April Long.
I am April Leong, aka the Avenger.
Yes. Listen, we're here working hard. Game Dash Studios. We are live. We are here to touch the people, reach the people. We're here to show our leadership and to work together. Thank you. Happy birthday to me. And there's no place I'd rather be right now. So we're here just trying to share what we know and share our fellowship with you. And thank you for watching. But we're not done yet. So stay tuned.
Anybody else want to speak to the live for the OSG Summit?
Keoki.
Jamie, you want to say something to the OSG Summit? To the live?
You know, being smart is mad aspiration. You know what I'm saying? shout out to all the OSG.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to now introduce the next two principals. Hold on. Quiet on the set. I'm going to introduce the next two amazing guests. To our sister, principal songstress herself, Adrian Hill.
That's Jersey.
Jersey's finest.
R. Hill.
Yeah, so I just want to introduce my amazing guest here, the birthday girl herself.
Happy birthday, Adrian!
And to my right, I got the principal nurturer, her cousin,
Trenton!
Kiyogi in the house.
T-Town.
Trenton's in the house. First and
Gotta say
foremost. Trenton. So, you know, I want you all to be yourself because I swear I've been having so much fun with y'all the past couple of days. And as principals, right, we don't always get out with one another, but definitely doesn't happen often where you have two cousins that are this close that work in the same city. So talk to me about that. Like, how does it feel to be able to share in principalship? Some of those responsibilities that you have as a principal in Trenton with your cousin on occasion when things get a little crazy. Talk to us a little bit about that.
All right, well, let me tell you, first of all, we've shared things prior to the principalship. Which made sharing the principalship even that much more valuable. So we went to school together for both of our master's degrees we got from the same place. And we decided we were going to do this as a family. And her sister, Chantel, also was involved with us. And she also works in Trenton Public Schools. She works for Trenton. We share the same students. Our students move where they're fluid. We move back and forth between schools. Kiyoki's at a charter school, I'm in Trenton Public School, but we share the same demographics, the same neighborhoods, the same children, the same parents. It is, for us, it is dope because we've always shared ideas with each other. We sit and have creative think tanks and we sit down at somebody's dining room table and get it in. So it's good to see things come to life.
And it's funny, going to visit your school and going to visit Kiyoki's school, it almost seems at times that you are like polar opposites of one another until you two get around each other. You two are almost unbearable at times on how you all act. Like both of you as principals. Hey, but when it comes down to the business of children, you all handle your business. You know what I'm saying? And so, Kiyoki, when I got a chance to come visit your school, again, I just saw you on the Zoom. I had my first time meeting you in person, and I felt like, wow, this is an amazing place. I didn't expect to come to a school that literally sat inches away from a golf course, a country club. So talk to us, like what does it feel like to be in Trenton knowing that you had a cousin on the opposite side of town that understood what you were going through?
So the great part about having a cousin as a principal, well, first of all, having a family member, a cousin, as just a family. Adrian is dope, right? Like, there's the epitome of just wonderful essence and likability, but she's funny. Like, we vibe because she's just funny and she gets it and she sees things, we see things in the same lens. So our children understand and they connect in that way because we're real, we see them, we actually see them, we love on them, and they connect to us in that way. So having her as a principal, not just a family member, but also a principal, she's a critical friend. She gets on me when I'm slacking. Like, she's quick. She's very quick-witted. If you've ever been around, she's very quick-witted. She's quick. She'll size something up, and she'll give me feedback, and I just have no other choice but to say, you know what, you're right. And I think that's a part of love. Love is correction in a sense where when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, someone will tell you, you know, hey, pick your game up. Do what you're supposed to do. Just like being out here. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. Like, this is it. She's like, no, we're going. We're going to do this. Like, our family needs, OSG needs us to be there. And I was like, you're right. So I think that's a part of it. Even when you're not doing what, you know, you may not know what you're supposed to be doing. You have someone that sees it in a way that promotes your greatness and propels you to do what you're supposed to do. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to have her not only as a family member but also as a principal. And like you said, we have the same exact student I'm in a charter school, she's in a public school. However, charter schools are public schools. Our students live on the same street. You know, it just so happens that they got into a lottery on my school, so they share some of the same best practice. They share some of the same triumphs, but they also share some of the same sorrows. So we're able to connect on that level.
And so, you know, you talk about OSG and family, and you know, it's funny. Have been with OSG to the point where you've been there so long. Most of us don't even know when you came on, because either when you came on, you were very, very quiet, or your lighting was so horrible nobody could make out who you were. So, talk to us, Keoki. Like, how long have you been rocking with OSG?
Listen.
And exactly how did you get on? Like, how did you get part of the family? Like, let us know.
So I just had this conversation a few minutes ago. I've been on with OSG since the 3rd episode.
Wow.
I started with OSG because I came onto one of Akbar's lives.
Brick City!
Brick City. Akbar Cook Solutions. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yes. So I came on to one of his evening lives that he had on IG, and he was like, North. And I was like, train. And then maybe a day later, 2 days later, you know, Dennis hit me up and was like, yo, you come through. We got some principals connecting, and I did. I went on OSG, it was the 3rd installment of it, and I've been there ever since. Now, I had bragging rights that I only missed one OSG session since June, but then once we got back into the school, I missed like 3. But it was a great place for me. It was a great space. I think that Principal Britt, April Long, went on and said that it saved her, it resurrected her, it helped her through a very tough time. And that was the same thing for me. As a charter school, we're often in silos where, you know, we don't really connect to the district. Although we have the same kids, we're not a part of an overall district. And that's what OSG did for me. It was another group of critical friends that I gelled with, understood, had the same vision. You know, Dennis said, you set the objective out for the day. We knew what we were talking about. And it just was what I needed at the moment to keep my focus, to keep my spirit up, to keep going. So that's what OSG did for me.
Before I ask you the next question about Adrian, again, one of the funniest parts about you is that when you finally ever showed your face, like you were literally up on the screen this close, where people still couldn't make out what you looked like.
Right.
Because when you did talk, you literally, you had glasses on too.
I know.
And you were all the way up on the screen and things like that. You couldn't see. But you know, what I've known, and I think most people will look at Adrian at times and think that she's just this hardened individual that's a tough nut to crack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you reached out to A and said, listen,
Oh man.
yo, this OSG thing, you need to get with it. Tell me about what
That
that is.
conversation?
Tell me about that conversation. Then I'm gonna let Adrian.
Yes. So that conversation was a little bit like this. I called down and said, look, you gotta be there. It's Thursday. It's everything that we talk about. It's everything that we laugh about. It's everything that we cry about. You gotta get there. She was like, no doubt, let's go. So she came on Thursday. But that was it. It wasn't a lot of convincing. She already knew. You know what I mean? I said, we have to be there. And she came through. That's exactly what it went. It was really easy.
So you remember when you first came through?
I vaguely remember when I first came through. I think it was probably a year and a half, like not shortly. It was shortly after she joined.
Yes.
in.
Mm-hmm.
With the horrible lighting, yes.
With the horrible lighting,
Yeah,
yes.
horrible lighting.
But your lighting wasn't
Shout out
much
to the
better
remake.
either, though. Your lighting wasn't too much better either. Yeah. So talk to us, Adrian. Like you came on that Zoom. What was it that grabbed you?
All right, well, first, let me backtrack because the conversation with her, the reason why it didn't take too much convincing is because I know her. And she wouldn't bring me anything whack.
No.
And she already knows that I'll be like, girl, why you got me here? And so I knew that if she was this passionate about it, that it would be something I would be able to rock with. Because she and I, we vibe a lot. We do a lot of sharing of ideas and things. So I knew that it would be something that I needed to check out. I didn't need to question it. I trust her. And she knows I would let her know if it was not right. And so coming on, I got on, you know, I like to marinate with it sometimes. Like I only speak when I have something valuable to say. So when I say it, it's valuable. But I take it in. I was watching, checking everybody out, listening. You know, I try to check everybody out, read the landscape, right? And then I was like, okay, I can rock with this. Because I like the energy that was coming through, even through the computer.
Energy.
You can feel it. You can feel people's energy, and you can feel when people are sincere or not. And I think that's why OSG is so dope, because like, even when we all finally met, it was like we already knew each other. We were all family already.
But I mean, there's a secret to the energy, and I'll bring this person up a little later. But Uncle Lays is the energy that drives OSG.
Yes.
I can tell you that right now. It's almost like, again, for those who've been to church, like you all understand that there's that praise and worship that ushers in. Like most preachers won't preach until the atmosphere is set. I'm just telling you, when Lays does what he does from 3:30 to 4 o'clock or 4:05, it most certainly sets the tone, sets the mode for everything that's getting ready to happen. So when you exactly, so when you think about the energy literally starts with Lays.
That's right.
When he and I get on at around 2:30, we would get on at 2:30 every time to check all the equipment. And he and I would sit there and be like, yo, D, what's the vibe today? And sometimes we would wrestle about the vibe. And then that moment he played that one song in the prep time, I knew what was getting ready to happen. I said, Lays, there was time I say, Lays, yo, the energy's different today. Your energy's crazy today. Lays, do your thing. And so that energy, I need to at least first and foremost let people know that Lays sets the energy of the room of OSG, and he has continued to do it. And remember, you all came to the party.
Right.
The DJ was all right. She did her thing. But when Uncle Lays grabbed the mic and told her what to play,
no doubt.
what happened?
Oh
what happened?
my goodness. Go ahead.
The place just caught on fire. Just everybody was
Almost burned down.
I was really worried. Like, is this this deck going to hold all of us? Because we were jumping and bumping and screaming, and people were singing along, and the energy was so high. I really was like, oh no, are we going to mess up with this man's brand new deck? Because the energy was high. There was no limit to it.
No doubt.
Yeah, so if I could just go ahead and say, I think like you said, Lays sets the atmosphere. He sets the atmosphere. You're comfortable to be yourself, your authentic self, because he sets the mood for that. He sets the mood for you to be authentic. And I think that actually transitions everyone into just a conversation, because everyone is to let your ideas and your emotions and your thoughts flow. So shout out to Uncle Lays, Raw Perspective, and all that.
Yeah, let me say something, because it's easy for people to judge us as educators and principals. They think really straight-laced, nerdy people. Like, I am a nerd, but I'm also very
intellectual.
Like, we laugh a lot. But I think people judge us. They have this idea of what they think teachers should be, what educators should be, what principals should be. But they need to know we're real people. Like, I'm a person before I'm a principal.
Absolutely.
But I just need
You
people
one
to
hell of
understand
a person. Let me tell you
Speak
that.
on it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
But I mean, I just need people to know that, because I think when we all get together, it is such an amazing, fun time. Like, I've been laughing for 2 straight days, and my eyelashes are probably looking bald. You can't see it, it's not close enough right now. But because I've been crying with laughter for days already. And so, but that's what people need to know. Like, that's the fire that brings us. We bring that to work with us.
Right.
We don't just leave ourselves at home. Like, we come to work with all the love, with all the joy, with all the energy, with all the ideas, with all the excitement, and that's what makes us dope principals.
No doubt. And and it's funny because when I think of when I was a principal, the one thing I never liked to do was to be bored. I hated to be bored. And so anything that would charge me and my kids up, I was willing to do it.
That's right.
So that music that Lays plays, I was playing that as a principal first thing in the morning. We started at 8 o'clock, and we rocked out to 8:20.
That's right.
I had kids I was standing outside
Right.
at 7:55, and I see kids running down the block because they did not want to miss that opportunity
That's right.
to let loose.
Yep.
And so I think what I love most about you two is the energy that you all bring, not only to your school but to the family, right? You know, y'all laugh, but y'all made us laugh the whole damn time y'all been here, right? And you too have been through some stuff to get here. And so, you know, I guess in a nutshell, just Keoki, and then I'll finish with Adrian. Keoki, OSG, what does it mean to you?
Oh man. So I was gonna put it in that. Wow, that's a hard nut to crack. So I was gonna say OSG in a nutshell. I would say it's life. OSG is life in the sense that pause. I would say that OSG is life in the sense that, you know, it gives. It's a giving vehicle. It's energy. It's fluid. You know, it's not just you making deposits. You receive a lot from it, right? So although we're here together and we got this synergy and we're constantly depositing in each other, you get so much from it. You get more than you could even probably really understand in a moment. You know, that's what I think OSG is. It's giving life, it's giving purpose, it's giving energy. That's what it does for me.
And I can't wait to when you two drop your
Oh,
I don't need these people, but I ain't gonna tell them yet, but these two got something cooking up real good here. Adrian, come on, talk to me. What does OSG mean to you?
OSG. I would say, let's use the letters. Out of this world, scholarly conversations. And with those scholarly conversations comes politics, comes community, comes family, comes curriculum, comes standards, comes budget, comes everything you need to be like a holistic principle. Like to take in every bit of your life, every bit of the outside world and bring it into your school. Like when we go to visit these schools, we're seeing like the things that we dreamed about.
Right.
We do not, listen, I'm good for dreaming up stuff and I'm like, who's paying for this? I dream it up and then I figure out how to get the money for it. But because that's what I've always wanted to do. And so when I'm visiting other schools and I'm meeting people and they're like-minded, I'm like, yes, I'm not crazy. I knew I wasn't crazy.
What's the G? What's the G?
But
OSG. What's the G part?
greatness.
Greatness.
Greatness. Grace.
Grace. Oh, I
Grace
love it.
because, you know, even though we have all these ideas, we have all these things, we're not perfect. And we've had a tough time this year. And so we've kind of held each other together. And we have, you know, made it so whatever we bring to the table, people have been there for us, to support us, to give us ideas, to hold us up when we couldn't stand. And we've been supports for other people who couldn't stand. And so, you know, the grace is a huge part of what we do. And I'm grateful. Let me say that with my G.
Wow, now that's so dope.
That's G.
That's G,
G.
for real, G. And so, but before I let you two go, I just wanted to take this next opportunity again to wish you a happy birthday. We want to wish you a happy birthday. Come on again. That's how we do. This is how we celebrate our sister for her birthday. Let me grab this for you. Let me grab this for
No,
you.
you may not.
Gotta sing it.
So ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, before we get out of here again, I just want to
Before
wish
my hair gets
our
on
sister
fire.
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Don't drop my cake, y'all. Don't drop it.
I'm gonna eat that.
That's dinner right
It's
there.
the cake, Adam, man.
That was good.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
I love y'all.
Love you too.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
I ain't forgot.
OSG.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever and ever.
Cut that cake. Hope y'all got a knife.
Let's cut the cake.
One more for
Hope
ladies.
y'all got a knife. What about Jocko and
Yeah,
Dr.
we get them
Action?
too.
Thank you.
And then ladies.
Where they?
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Jacko and Riley. Come up here with your passport. Show us on.
Let's go.
Come on, y'all. Keoki.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Which one? Which one? What you need?
Which one?
Yeah, paper towel.
This?
Yeah, paper towel.
Paper towel. Oh.
Okay.
I heard you.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Yo, Jack.
Hosting us once again. We have principals from California. We have principals from New Jersey. We have principals from the BX. My sister over here. Let's see how they act out. We are not dealing with a regular group. Here comes Jacko.
We live. We live at the summit.
Students be like this. Yo, can we make some noise for Jacko Shorts? Jacko Shorts!
We live at the summit.
We got the QB in the house. We got Principal Jacko over here, better known as Principal Pearl. And we got over here, we got the Bronx finest herself, Dr. Anissa Rowley, better known as Dr. Action. What up? Listen, y'all. It's been one heck of a week. OSG has represented on so many levels. Jacko, you can come closer. We will not bite. You can come a little closer. Thank you. I know. And again, I mean, you are most certainly Queens out there. I see how you doing. That's how y'all doing Queens, right?
What up, people in IG land? That's on Dame Lash. Put it in the chat. Where you at? Where you at?
Yeah, where you at? Where you at, y'all? We got principals here from New York all the way.
Testing.
Let them know.
Put it in the chat.
You used to DJ, right? Let them know. You used to DJ.
Where are you? Where are you? Let me see. Where are you? Where are you guys? Where are you guys? You are a huge fan. Heaps for peeps. Okay, you're a huge fan.
That's right. What's going on, y'all? OSG in the house. So we gonna run through this really quick, but again, these two amazing young ladies sitting to the left and to the right of me represent OSG to the fullest. We got again Principal Anisha Jacko from Queens. We have Dr. Anissa Rowley from the BX.
Yes.
And so, let me just start with, if you don't mind, let me just start with when did you come to know this family? What happened? Do you remember how you got here?
All I know is Simone.
Yeah, Simone.
The lioness.
Roar. Listen, I think between Ak and Simone, they brought in the most folks. All right, now come on, talk to me.
We already had a critical friends group of Queens principals where we served as
Shout out to Michelle Susulis, right?
Susu, Alika Thompson, and so we originally, through Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, our platform for Queens was to bring an impact, have an impact on our community through working with principals. And so when I had originally began as a school leader, and so Simone said there's a broader group led by you as her coach, and she said you should come on a Thursday at a time to be on anywhere at 4 o'clock on a regular day. But school's closed, and what else am I going to do but go on a Zoom on my orange corner? Right, with your laptop. So I must have come maybe May. I would say May. So late. I'm a late bloomer.
Gotcha. So when you got it, right? What was it? I mean, we heard people speak about an energy in the room. What was it that made you even think about coming back the second week?
Well, so often as principals, you're isolated. And so this is an opportunity to hear from different needs. For I would say about 12 years, I served in a community that didn't resemble me or my own children or the community in which I grew up in. So this is like an oasis of, I felt like when I went to Hampton, everybody knows it goes crazy when it's homecoming. So I attested to lays on the 1 and 2s. That's the biggest draw. And then it's like homecoming. So it's like you are with like-minded individuals who look like you, and that was super important for me.
Perfect. And Dr. Riley, I mean, you have been day one. You have been a day one OSG family member, and you know, for the people, tell them a little bit about that day, that first day. Because I know one of the things you've always done, you've always trusted my decision.
Yes.
You've always trusted my guidance.
Yes.
And when I told you about this OSG thing, you got on as a friend, as a sister. You knew you were gonna rock out.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you got on?
So I'll say this: when you, first of all, you had told me about what you wanted to do off school rounds a while ago, and I was just waiting to see how your brain was going to manifest it and bring it to fruition. So when you called me and you were like, "We're gonna get on the Zoom," I was like, "You going away? We getting on a Zoom? Like, it's a pandemic, bro. Like, who's getting on a Zoom in a pandemic? I got kids to leave." And so you said, get on the Zoom." I was like, "Okay." Zoom. I was like, "There's music playing?" I was just like, "Okay." I was in my little, my bedroom office at the time, and I was still learning how to click, click, click. My head was wrapped up. And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool. This is cool." Oh, I saw the numbers, participants. It was 20 people. It was 25 people. It was 50 people. It was 70 people. It was text you and I said, "Bro, this is about to propel you into the stratosphere." I said, "This is about to propel you into the stratosphere." I said, "I don't think you realize what's about to happen and what's happening." And you were like, "Okay." And I was just sat back and I just watched. Because we've known each other for a very long time. You've been my coach for a very long time. So I saw it and I said, "Yo, bro, this is what's about to happen." And it was just magical, you know. And I like to have fun. So I'm dancing, I'm listening to people talk, and I'm just like, this is where it's at. I'm so proud.
And you know, again, how I'm able to put people together in a room is somewhat unique. But you two share a very similar story. Because you have now, I gotta start with Jacko on this one. I now even give you my mic. You know, you are now a principal. But prior to becoming a principal, you had some very challenging times, right? In education. God-fearing woman that you are, but you went through some hell before you became a principal. And you fought and you fought and you fought and you didn't always get the results that you were looking for, and then we had a conversation. So without necessarily going into much detail, just kind of talk a little bit about the feelings that you were going through when no challenges were in front of you, as in your previous role as an educator.
Yeah, I mean, if I can go back to this time last year.
We only have 10 minutes of memory left, so we want to get Lays and me and Lays.
Sometimes you serve in spaces that do not match your calling. And it was an opportunity in my 21st year, and that's like a 3 completion. It was time for me to do some good work in my community at home. And so be clear about what am I going to do currently and in the future. And then when I spoke to you and Dane, and he asked me, "What do you dream about?" And I was blank, because so often I've always just gone to school and completed. My conversation with you led to me starting my own company on May 20th, 2020. So that date is very special to me. And so I'm a first-year entrepreneur, and also leading me to my real passion in my Jonah shoes and becoming a licensed minister September 12th, 2020. And then I got the phone call to work 30 blocks from my high school, Jamaica High School. Shout out to Jamaica Avenue, Margarita Pizza.
There you go.
September 12th, I became.
Don't forget Hollis Deli. Come on, stop playing.
I mean, you gotta get the steak and cheese.
You gotta get the steak and cheese.
I mean, Queens is just that spot. But just, September 12th, becoming a licensed minister, and then September 14th, I got the call that I will become the new principal in the middle of the pandemic. Was extraordinary. So it's the answer of when you have breakdowns, you can have breakthroughs, and really being clear about what the purpose and your calling is.
And I remember the tears. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when you were in your previous situation and how challenging it was for you, because you knew that something needed to happen. Something truly needed to happen. And you and I discussed about moving to that, what was next for you. I think I remember telling you, Jacko, it's time for you to go home. It's time for you to go and service your own community that you grew up in and stuff like that. And so to see you as a principal, you're doing an amazing job of being able to challenge that, channel that energy. Dr. Riley, you're another one who's going through a tremendous amount of challenges before becoming a principal. While being a principal. And when I see the woman that you've become now, I think people don't see or don't know the story, right? They don't know the trials. They see the triumphs. So can you talk real brief about what it is to actually go up against those challenges, beat the odds, and now actually start living your best life as a principal?
So when you are put in situations where you think you're going to do good, but you know you're supposed to be there, it is what helps you get through. And when you are unearthing old habits and you are challenging mindsets, and then you destroy the golden calf where people are getting their milk from, you are putting yourself in position to be attacked, your reputation to be slandered, for things to hit you in places and spaces you never even thought about it. I call it the wilderness experience. And so I had a massive wilderness experience that almost took me out emotionally. But when you are at the place where God puts you, He will also put, if you know the story of Moses, a ram in the bush. And I say, you were my ram in the bush. You came, you helped me, and I listened because I couldn't be in that space anymore. And now I'm here doing big things and leading with integrity. And as I'm sure you heard I say, leading with love.
Thank you, y'all. I appreciate
Woo
y'all.
woo.
Y'all two are amazing. I'm proud to be a part of your journey, and I can't wait to see what's next. So thank y'all so much.
You welcome. Shout out to the BX.
Come on up, Uncle Ladies. Y'all, listen.
Ladies.
The next guest is coming out. Come on. The next guest is coming up. You all might not know him, you may not. He's been with Dame Dash for quite some time, but most people don't know.
Watching all this greatness go down.
I need to thank you publicly, not only on behalf of myself, but the whole OSG family for bringing Dame into our lives, man. And I know when you thought about bringing Dame, I know it was one of those things where you said, how can I best utilize Dame when he actually gets in the crew, right? Because I know that's not always easy, because you know how Dame can be in terms of having so many things to do. But he found the time for you that day when you called and reached out, happened to convince Dame about OSG.
Well, first of all, when you're talking about OSG, you're talking about people with critical thought. And I thought if Dame would get it. I was there in the very beginning when Dame was working out his processes for Rockefeller. I'd walk with him and we'd talk about things we could possibly do in business. He was always very focused and very dedicated. When I also saw the inside part, where he was so dedicated to his people on the inside, I felt like this is something, as this thing is beginning, this would be a great person that could be a part of this situation, because the difference is they weren't just guys on the street, they were thinkers and were. And I knew that the skill set that they I don't think you'll see the benefits of having
There were qualities about Dame while you were with Rockefeller, when you guys were with Dame. You saw certain qualities in him that you
it was loyalty. He was loyal to his people. It was almost It reminded me of me Billy and Fame. He was loyal to a fault. It was like, it didn't matter. You couldn't say nothing to Dame about somebody that was in his crew because you couldn't believe that anybody in his crew would ever do something to hurt him. He loved his people. And I like the way he moved around his family. He loved his family. And I was like, well, in this family setting, I think Dame would be a good family.
Yeah, and so Dame, you remember that day when Lace reached out to you, and you remember you came on the Zoom that day, but prior to, I remember you saying that because of who Lace was, you trusted that whatever he was going to put you into was going to be something that either you could be a true asset to, or they could be an asset for you. So talk to the people about that when you got that correspondence from Lace about that.
He sent me a text, and I'm not so good on text. So really all I need to know is when you want me to show up, regardless of what it is, because of my brother, then I'm going to show up. I just remember hearing education, or reading that. And, automatically I have apprehension about curriculum and, programming, and, things that I've been speaking about, so I addressed it. But, I was challenged, and I was spoke. And at the end of the day, I was just so surprised at the circle of people and who they were. I had never seen black principals. They weren't really moving for them, they were moving for us. But they were doing what they had to do, and I just felt like it was really needed to be celebrated. And I just wanted to make sure that, as a be represented correctly, because I know how important it is.
So let's just fast forward a little bit to when you and Rocky were expecting Little Dusko, and being able to kind of reach out to OSG with this experience with you and Rocky. Do you remember some of the conversations you may have had either with OSG as a whole, or Principal Jacko, or Lays, or myself, or somebody that may have kind of triggered you to know that you are in the right space for your child, for your family, and things?
So if I'm on the Zoom weekly with 120 of the smartest, culturally up-to-date people that I've ever seen in my life, and they range from every single age demographic up to when you're a man or an adult. I'm going to utilize that resource. It becomes a war chest of information that will make my razor so sharp that I can cut anything. And there were principals like Jocko and Dr. Action that were specialists in that field of when a baby is born. Really, I was like, how do I prepare my baby when he's born? They said, start preparing him before he's born. And then from then on, they gave us a very clear curriculum that we followed, and I was able to see how it actually affected the baby as soon as he was born. And it's been nothing but more and more knowledge, and I have 5 kids, and the things I'm learning I never knew. Couldn't learn it even just by having a child. Just these special things that can make the trajectory of your child's life so much easier, and eliminating fear, eliminating being insecure.
And those things, when I think back to, you coming into OSG, and when I reached out to Lays, the music industry was crippled by the pandemic, because we know most artists were out there making money via tours. And so when I reached out to Lays and said, yo, listen, here's my idea, I need your help with this. And he said, I'm down, just count me in. At no point did I ever think that Dame Dash was going to be as an integral part of what we did, because at that point, Lays didn't reveal that one yet. He revealed the BJ Ralph McDaniels, the Red Alerts, the Chuck D's, and all, but he never revealed the Dame Dash card until that 5th week. And so, ladies, just talk to the people real quick about how this integration of the arts, hip hop, music, sports, how does that find its way into OSG, and how did it find its way into education?
I've been in the game for 30 years, so 30 plus, so I know everybody, when it comes to this game. I don't mess with everybody, but I know everybody. So I wanted to bring people that the OSG people would be their contemporary, that who they grew up listening to. So I felt DJ Ralph McDaniels would get it, Video Music Box, shout to them. That's my man. He was a part of building a lot of careers, and he was a stand-up dude. So I said we put him in there, and then I said we bring Red Alert. Red Alert built this thing, and then I was like, you know, I brought my brother in, Big Daddy Kane, who literally my brother brought him in there, and that attracted a lot of people to it. But I started to see that there was becoming a business sense to this thing where this started to turn into a business. And I was like, well, obviously, who I'm gonna bring? I'm gonna bring the dude that actually was the first one talking about business and the stuff that he did from a business perspective it was the first time it was ever done in the music business, where you get your first dollar from major corporations and making other major corporations work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's musical, that's business game 101. Let me bring Dame in here, because what he was doing in the business game, what they did, it still ain't been done like that no more. So let me bring him in there, because I know whatever happened in his world, they would get it. So I said, let me get Dame in here, and they would get it, and they would take that to another level.
So Dame, when you came, you saw these people for the first time, you was impressed. But after several weeks, if not several months, you became more than just a participant. You became our brother. You became family. And one of the things I remember you saying, and it was probably, you know, one of the greatest compliments I've ever received in my life, of me being able, you somewhat comparing what you did at the height of your career to what I'm doing with OSG, and the fact that what you were able to create, nobody's been able to create ever since. And what we are doing at OSG, you obviously get to see something similar, because you created an empire. You created a dynasty. Talk to people a little bit about what is it about OSG that kind of parallels what you were doing when you were in Rockefeller, and when you were building that team, and when you were building that company, that you can see any kind of resemblance in OSG at the moment?
I mean, you know, again, I'm a pretty clear person. So, number one, disruptive, swagger. Number three, very intelligent. And number four, doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. It's never happened before. No one's seen it, and it's needed. So, you know, Dr. D. Nice kind of summed it up. It's a void that no one knew they had. We just didn't know that we needed this. I guess you knew we needed this. I didn't know we needed this, but once it was there, I was like, damn, I needed this. I needed to see us looking so good, helping each other. The thing I'm most proud about OSG is us helping us, not them. And, you know, what I wanted to celebrate was this thing that we put together with the studios about, you know, asking. It's about bringing awareness to it. If you don't do it, we'll do it ourselves. But if you want to do it, we can do it together. There's a common ground. So automatically watching the Board of Education co-sign building studios, but also being open to the mentorship as well, and having a different kind of curriculum means that we can find a common ground. We just have to be proactive about writing the script and this narrative. And this is what OSG is. And Lazy, like you said, the motor behind it, you know, and he brings that like entrepreneurial hip hop cool swag with it. And he knows, because he didn't tell me what he wanted me to do, he just knew. Because when you're in this kind of world of being creative, you can't really tell a creative what you want them to do. They gotta just do it. And he knows I'm creative. He said, I ain't gonna tell you what I want you to do, but if you get it, I know what you're gonna do.
And so Dame, you know, one of the things that Lace is now involved in, you know, Lace, I'm gonna let you tell the people real quick what you're involved in and how does Dame Dash play into that?
Well, you know, the studio, when I'm building media rooms in a bunch of schools, and quite honestly, I feel like it's no thing for me, because I did the music business. I was always creating these economic loops. When I needed to have a studio, I didn't want to pay a bunch of studios money. I would just build my own studios and pay myself. That way I can pay my crew, and that's how we ate. Because I mean, you know the deal. You get your record money, but you don't get big record money. So you got to figure out ways to create loops to feed your people. In this situation, We're going to create news to feed the neighborhood. The first one is Dame Dash Studios over at my man Akbar Spot on West Side. And the thing about Dame Dash Studios is he builds a spot right now. He's doing the same thing. We are in Dame Dash Studios. We are living in the personification of his vision. And we are creating, because of what he did, we can sit there and tell this story for everybody to hear. So at the end of the day, I'm looking for the day where it's not a thing, what I'm doing. If your school got a gym, your school should have a studio, should have a broadcast room. They should have because there's so many different ways that it connects to children. It gives them the ability to speak in public, gives them confidence. It teaches them how to broadcast. The entire world is broadcasting now, so why aren't we speaking in that same language? Why aren't we teaching them early, not waiting for them to get a communications degree and try to be a broadcaster in that small little thimble on TV? No, teach them so that they broadcast in their whole life. And that's going to give our community confidence, so we ain't got to go to nobody and say help us. We can help ourselves if we teach our kids to be confident. That's what I mean.
So Dane, as we get out of here, let the people know, what does it feel like to have schools willing to name their studios that are being developed and designed by Lays Elliott and Talos Media? What does it feel like to have people want to dedicate those studios to you and the work that you and what you've meant to our our culture?
It's one of those things. It's a void that I didn't know existed, but it feels really good. It feels right. It feels age appropriate, and also it feels like we're leading by example for the future to do what's right when they're adults, so they can lead by example. It's a cycle breaker. We're cycle breakers, and that's why I'm a part of this. It's disruption in a very tasteful way.
Well, again, Dane, thank you for hosting us with the first OSG Summit here at Dame Dash Studios here in Burbank. Again, shout out to the entire OSG family who came across the country to come and support.
Shout them out.
OSG! OSG! On Dame Dash. So thank y'all so much for joining us. We look forward to continuing to show you the great things that OSG can do. Thanks.
Let me ask this question. Is there a principal or a doctor in here that did not get interviewed? Please raise your hand. We did our job. We did our job.
Martini!
Y'all know what it is when you get all that shit you wanted to get more. You got everything. Got this nigga. Got everything I needed. Got everything.
Listen, really quickly. It's very important when you do something.